Moving on from question 2 of logical reasoning drill set number 11 over at lawhub.lsac.org, we come to question 3, and we've got one of the more, I would honestly say, annoying question structures in the exam and exception task. So number 3's stem reads, each of the following, if true, provides evidence against the conclusion drawn in the argument except. So we're going to highlight provides evidence against the conclusion in one color as the task in the affirmative. Then in another color, we're going to highlight the word except. So what we need to do for these exception task questions is actually answer the question in the affirmative for 4 answer choices. So we should have 4 answer choices that do actually provide evidence against the conclusion or weaken that conclusion. And then there's going to be 1 answer choice that either does nothing to the conclusion or it actually strengthens the conclusion. But you can't assume that the right answer is going to strengthen. It may just be irrelevant. We're just looking for something that does not weaken. And the best way to figure out what doesn't weaken is go find the 4 answer choices that do weaken and pick the outlier. So we're still going to engage with the paragraph up front. As always, we're going to read it in full. Then we're going to highlight just the conclusion. And then we might broadly predict what could be some information that would weaken that conclusion if it's an in real life situation that's pretty straightforward. So starting from the top, in classic mystery stories, master criminals are captured through the genius of a detective working alone. But in one type of modern detective story, the police procedural, criminals are pursued by uninspired though hard-working people who employ the same mind-numbing routine each day. Hence, the development of the police procedural is an endorsement of the effectiveness of bureaucracies rather than individuals. So we just highlight everything after hence. The challenge of this question is certainly in the question stem and the structure of the relationship between it and the answer choices, not in trying to find the conclusion. So we know the conclusion is simply that the development of the police procedural, where you've got uninspired, hardworking people doing the same mind-numbing routine each day, is an endorsement of that bureaucratic kind of structure being better than individual detective genius stories from the past. So we need to find an answer choices, or 4 answer choices, that actually say the individual is better than the bureaucracy. So starting with choice A, in police procedurals, there is often one member of the force more clever than the rest who does the most important work in catching the criminal. Well, if there's one member who does the most important work in catching the criminal, then it's the individual that's better than the bureaucracy. So that would weaken this argument. And so we eliminate choice A as accomplishing the task in the affirmative. Continuing on to choice B, in police procedurals, criminals often go uncaptured because of the ineptness of the law enforcement agencies responsible for pursuing them. Well, if the agencies, the bureaucracies, are inept, well, then it's probably better for the individual to do the detective work. So again, B would directly weaken that conclusion in yellow. We can eliminate it because we're looking for the exception. Then choice C, in police procedurals, criminals are often captured when the police are the beneficiaries of critical evidence that turns up during routine investigations. Well, the evidence turns up during the routine. Well, the routine is the same mind-numbing routine each day. So this actually does probably strengthen a little bit, and it certainly doesn't weaken, and we should be able to proactively select C. Now, for exception tasks in particular, you probably want to make sure for the remaining answer choices that they did weaken in the affirmative. So we'll do that here, of course, as part of this video. Continuing with choice D, in police procedurals, crimes are often solved when the normal routine is broken. So again, it's not the routine, it's actually outside the routine. So that would weaken the yellow highlighted conclusion that we marked in the left-hand paragraph. And then lastly, choice E, in police procedurals, members of the force are often portrayed as defying the rules by which their department is run. Well, then it's not saying the bureaucracy is effective. We actually have to break the rules of the bureaucracy, which would, once again, accomplish that yellow task in the affirmative, leaving us with the correct answer for number 3, which is the exception, the only of the 5 answer choices that did not provide evidence against this conclusion in number 3 from drill set 11.